week's show. This is the third of 3 special episodes for Festival of the Artisan. We're hearing from some of the artists who are performing at the festival, and this week it is the fabulous BBC award-winning Bella Hardy. Bella tells us about the importance of storytelling in music, the importance of places and people from those places to making music, and her experiences around the world of the similarities in approach that sort of wildly different groups of different people take to their community music making. The first episode 2 weeks ago was featuring Chris Hall of Little Roosters, a great Cajun music exponent. Last week was Blair Dunlop, another BBC award winner, so do go check out their episodes as well. All of these artists, including Bella, are performing at the Festival of the Artisan, live streaming on Friday the 26th and Saturday the 27th of March. Find out more at festivaloftheartisan.co.uk. But right now I'm going to hand over to Steve Bonham, who is in conversation with Bella Hardy.
Hello Bella, good to talk to you.
Welcome to Edale. You're talking to me in my garden in Edale, and the clouds have just blocked the sun for a moment, but it is a beautiful day. The blue skies are out. I felt the warmth of the sun earlier. It was quite incredible.
For the benefit of the listeners in Borough, where actually is Edale?
Edale is in the Peak District. If you're going between Sheffield and Manchester, then you quite often hit it on a train line. So right between Sheffield and Manchester, but still Derbyshire.
It is a very beautiful part of the country. Well, if someone said to you Derbyshire music, what would you think about?
Well, I mean, for me, I think instantly about the Christmas carols, because when I was growing up, we used to go sing the local carols in Castleton. Right. And when I think of local music, that's always the thing that springs to my head, because I know it was collected here, and Ray Vaughan Williams came to Castleton, which is a village just over the hill, and collected carols, and it's still well known in the village that we had our own carols once that have largely been forgotten. We have started singing traditional carols here again now, which is great. And apart from that, I always struggled with Derbyshire music. So a few years ago, in fact it was 2012, so more than a few years ago now, I set off to try and write that a little bit in my own little way, and made an album called The Dark Peak and the White about Derbyshire songs and Peak District songs that I could find. I used a book called The Songs and Ballads of Derbyshire. It's a big old ballad book of stories and songs. So I used that largely and set some new tunes to old stories that I found, and I went and sat on hills and in car parks with my fiddle and tried to talk to people. I just walked around chatting to people going, do you know any local folklore? Which was a great way to do it, because I found some amazing bits of story. I was chatting to some people in Bradwell, and they told me about the white bird, the ghost of the white ouzel that flies over Bradwell, which is a common bit of myth in Bradwell in the Hope Valley. And I went digging around and found the origins of that story, and it's a song that I call Bradwell's Lost Daughter, which is an old exorcism story from the village. It's amazing. Wow. So now I think of the songs and ballads of Derbyshire, and I think of all of the stories that I've been digging out and listening to and hearing from other people over the last 10 years. But from a younger age, it was mainly the carols that I thought of as Derbyshire.
I mean, what is it then? Because if you think about Derbyshire and the music, it is a kind of a mysterious area. I don't think it's not like the northeast or Oxfordshire actually, where people go, oh well, that's about that. But you've got people like John Tams and dear old Mick Peet, who unfortunately passed away.
I know. Sadly missed.
So tradition is deep, isn't it, of songs and singing in Derbyshire and the storytelling?
I think tradition of song and storytelling and folklore in general all sits together in places where things are remembered like place names. So in Edale, I always think, how can there not be music when I'm in a little village surrounded by hills, and the hills have just fantastic names. I've got Loose Hill and Win Hill, which is literally Lose Hill and Win Hill, about did the hills have a battle? Did armies on each hill have a battle, or is that all myth? Is it actually just about wind, and is it Wind Hill? And you've got Winnet's Pass over the way, which is the wind gates of the valley, and we've got Madwoman stones just on the hill behind me. Everywhere, every inch and every stone formation surrounding me has a name which kind of ties back to a story. And where there's stories, there's songs. That's just the way that the world has always worked. Because people, enjoy making music with their bodies, and that's singing. So it's here. It's just sometimes it gets forgotten.
I did read, or was told years ago, that one of the weird things about Derbyshire is the level of employment in Derbyshire, which would have been lead mining and stuff like that, was always about equal to the number of the population of Derby. So there were, people never left here, and there wasn't big movements of people into the county. So a lot of things stayed quite cut off in that sense of saying this is our tradition. It's not, you don't have, say, like in Northumberland, where you've got massive Irish movement into the region.
No, I wonder.
Telling its own stories. It's quite odd.
Yeah, I mean, we're very landlocked.
Yeah.
You don't have anybody arriving by boat into Derbyshire. You don't have anybody kind of slipping into the communities, and into Derbyshire. But I don't know if that's quite the same in the valley and in between Sheffield and Manchester, because we probably do have more movement. We are surrounded by large cities, and you do hear lots of stories about from the kind of 17 and 1800s, people moving into the cities, and the Industrial Revolution. The movement of the farm workers into the cities. Was definitely a big thing here, and just the population. Vedale, of the village I live in. You think, there's lots more people around now. We're at about 350 people now, but it was much bigger than that at one point. It was, up to 500, 600, I believe, just because there was a lot more people working here and farming here and living here, lots of dairy farms that we don't have anymore, and much bigger families. So,
and miners, loads of miners all over Derbyshire.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How do you get from Edale to China?
Well, I was actually the British Council musician in residence, so I was quite restless as a young person. I'm still a youngish person. I think I'll be youngish till I'm about 90 in my mind, but I would always apply for whatever opportunities I saw. I was very much on the ball when it came to looking for things to do. That's just how I've always been. And this opportunity came up to apply to be a musician in residence for the British Council in China. And I applied, and I got the position. There's been a few. There was 3 of us that year, and I think they send 3 musicians out every year. So I first went in 2015 to Yunnan province. And I got to choose kind of the area I went, and got to propose basically what I wanted to do. And Yunnan province in South China is particularly interesting because there's more of the minority groups in Yunnan than anywhere else in China. China is made up of a huge number of tribes, basically, and lots and lots and lots of them really are still living a life that they've been living for generations to generations. So they're still living in the mountains and haven't migrated to the cities. And where they have migrated to the cities, so Kunming, the main city of Yunnan province, where I was staying, they still get together a lot, and you see them celebrating their tribes, the Yi people, the Bai people, all of these different peoples getting together in their traditional costume in the city park, which is called Green Park, Green Lake Park, and they'll all be dancing on a Sunday in a circle in their costume and just celebrating who they are. So the folk music and tradition is really strong in Yunnan, and different folk singing styles. So that's kind of why I wanted to go to Yunnan.
How did that alter or change or shape your own music?
Always so hard to tell, isn't it? Because making your own music is just having a rattle bag of stuff that things get thrown into forever, and who knows what comes out, really. Just what comes out. I did make an album over there called Eternal Spring, because I'm quite I like to write things down. I'm a notebook keeper, a diary keeper almost, but it's not daily diary entries. I tend to write poems, and I tend to write just the things I see and the things that strike me. And one of the reasons I love traveling is because I think you're kind of heightened to that sense of observation when you're out of your comfort zone. So in China, I wrote a full red notebook. I was there for 2 months, and I had a full notebook by the end of that. It's the first time, and I'd written all of these poems and written down things I'd learned, and had a collection of songs that had been taught to me and tunes that had been taught to me. So I went back in 2017 and worked for 2 weeks with some musicians over there to turn the poems and make everything into a song and make an album called Eternal Spring, which is what they call Kunming is the city of eternal spring. But the thing that really struck me was, I think I went looking for differences and found similarities, and I've found that everywhere I've gone, really. But China, really, most strikingly, I just kept meeting people who just reminded me of somebody at home, or who everyone was so friendly and so welcoming in the part of China I was in, and they just loved sharing. And I would, I went and met a ginger farmer and her family in one tiny village, and I went out and was picking ginger with them, and they would sing me a song and translate would tell me what it's about, and I would sing them a similar song about something else, and and they'd go, oh, I know a song a bit like that, and they'd teach me a song, and the themes were the same, songs about flowers and the meaning of flowers, and you sing the seeds of love, and they're like, oh yeah, we've got a song like that, it's about this, and it was incredible. I absolutely loved it.
You're right. We the phrase we often use in the stuff we do is the extraordinary stories of ordinary folk. When I've sat in the middle of the Sahara Desert singing whiskey in a jar with some Bedouin tribesmen, and they've singing their songs back to me, and the Bedouin version of Shumare Dumadun Dumadar is a really brilliant moment. I wish I could.
It sounds amazing.
When did you start thinking this is what
It's funny you should say whiskey in the jar, because my dad always used to sing that to us when we were kids. So that's, I think it starts a lot with the people in your life, doesn't it? And the attitude they have to music and singing. And I'm lucky that both my mum and my dad love music, love lots of different styles of music. My dad came from Hull and was very aware, I think, of the Watersons and a kind of unaccompanied singing scene. And he, he sang washing up shanties to make us do the washing up, which was any folk song that you'd sing along to, and we all just always loved to sing. And my mum, in the same way, she'll sing while she's walking around. She had a really great, she can play the piano a bit, and so we had a piano in the house that she'd play, and she would take us to operas and classical music, and she was really, she was keen that we had open minds towards music types, and she made me play the violin, and I hated it. I never wanted to play the fiddle. And she had my granddad's fiddle, her dad who played the fiddle, so I didn't have any choice. And I'm so glad now. Cursed it for years, and now I couldn't be more happy that she did it. So it's all about the people in your lives, and also the community that you're in. And I'm from this village, Edale, and there was always just a community of music making and performance as well. We had an amateur dramatics group, which back then was called Kinder Players. It's called Downfall Productions nowadays. And there was always a play, there was always a show, there was always a music hall. There's a church choir that I've been singing since I could stand up. It's just a background of singing, and it really, singing has always been part of who I am. And I don't know, it's a bit chicken and the egg. Did I end up doing, following all of this because, and develop a love of singing as a child, or was it there? As soon as I could talk, I was singing. I was wandering around making up songs, and that has always brought me great comfort and always been a big part of my self-identity, I suppose.
Listening to that idea of your identity, and quite often you'll see, Bella Hardy, traditional folks singer, but you're not, are you? You're not.
Is anybody? Is anybody just one thing like that? I mean, find me a traditional folk singer that doesn't love singing along to the Beatles and Queen, and who wouldn't just give their left arm to be in a rock and roll band every so often. It's I love traditional songs. I love them because they're story songs and they're interesting and they're timeless, so they're really good. One of the reasons traditional songs are so good is the rubbish ones have been forgotten, so the ones we have left are really good. And, whenever you get the kind of people saying, are you doing it as a standard bearer, you're saving the tradition, I say, no, the tradition is fine all by itself. That's why it's lasted this long. It doesn't need me. I'm just very lucky to get to be part of it. And I don't think, martyring ourselves on it is necessary. I am a traditional singer, but I'm a singer more than anything else, and I'm a writer, and again, people get stuck on that. It's like, oh, you're a songwriter, you're or you write a bit of poetry, so you're a poet and a songwriter, but you've never published poetry. It doesn't matter. I just write stuff, and I like to sing stuff, and I like to get other people singing stuff. I really, I lead a lot of choirs nowadays, and I do lots of education work as well. And part of that's really selfish because I just love to sing in harmony. So if I can teach other people some harmonies, then I'm a happy woman.
Yeah. And how did you end up in Nashville? Almost because that sort of almost like the triangle. I just looked at that and thought, wow, the Edale to
China to Nashville. Well, I did it in 1 week as well. Once I came back from Tennessee because I had to get my visa sorted before I came to China. So I think I had 4 days in Edale, 5, I think, actually, to try and sort my visa out. 2 trips to Manchester visa offices for China and straight on a plane. I was very tired after that one. I just always, I mean, I've always loved the songwriters who create wonderful, I would say simple, but they're not simple to write, but they're just classic songs. You know, Carole King, you break down a Carole King song, sometimes they are so simple and just so effective. And the country singers do that so well. And then the Nashville scene is, it's, you know, who would not want to go to Nashville as a songwriter and build a toolkit of understanding what they were doing over there? And that's exactly what I did. So it's just somewhere I wanted to go. And I had a friend who knew a friend who had an Airbnb and was willing to give me a cheap room for, I think I first went for a month and a half, 6 weeks or so. And I got a bit of funding, I can't remember who from, to join the Nashville Songwriters Association for a year. It's a songwriting association. There's a great website. I think it's National Songwriters Association. It might be called something else. There's lots of online learning you can do and lots of masterclasses, but you can also get mentored. And if you're in Nashville, there's loads of kind of pitching music to Nashville radio stations kind of evenings and publishers' evenings and advice. And you can go and use their rooms and things. So I just wanted to go and take advantage of that for a while. And being a good artist in any sort, I think, is just about keeping on adding the tools to the belt. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to know and I wanted to experience it. So I did. Well, I went over for 6 weeks that first time. And then I think I came home and turned around, did a few gigs and went straight back again pretty much. And I was there for a year on and off in the end. Not all in Nashville, sometimes out. I didn't have enough money to live in Nashville. I went out and worked on a farm out in East Tennessee near Knoxville. And that's where I was mainly for best part of a year on and off, hiding, writing songs, playing the fiddle.
Apart from the great festival of the Artisan,
I've moved back to Edale, which, you know, I've been back for a couple of years now, and you know, I was always coming and going from here. Even when I was in China and Tennessee, I was back every few months and away again. You know, I lived in Scotland for years and I was always back every month. People here never knew I left, quite frankly, it's just kind of handy. But I'm really enjoying being back ensconced by the hills and the stories and letting that seep in, really. I've found, well, I've been working in Manchester at a venue called Band on the Wall, which is a great music venue in the Northern Quarter. I've been there for a year and a half now as their learning program manager. So it's a National Lottery Heritage funded program, and I arrange and plan and think my way through how we're going to provide learning and what it's going to be. So at the moment I'm running a Saturday club and a Tuesday night choir, and we're just about to start a youth choir as well, and we're doing projects about heritage and projects about migrant communities in Manchester and the music all together. So that's an incredible experience and opportunity, and I learn and learn and learn and learn. I'm really just learning so much about different cultures. We had a whole year focusing on Caribbean music and mento and calypso music and where that come from and where it went and what it turned into, and teaching kids in schools about that. Just fab, you know, absolutely lovely. And meeting the musicians, you know, from that community and that culture. So just always carrying on learning. But equally, I'm writing and writing and writing, which I'm just loving as well. And I think for me, one thing about the whole situation we're in and being in one place, not able to go anywhere, the time I've had, even with working, you know, in Manchester, which I'm still doing online and working from home, you know, the time I'm spending not on trains and not traveling and not doing other things. Yeah. I'm just loving writing. So I've been writing a lot of prose, but I find that when I'm writing my great novel, like half of the population, I think, I find it inspires songs, and so much of it turns into a little bit of a thinking about a song, thinking about a traditional song, looking at and I kind of go, oh, sure, I remember a song about that, and I'll end up spending half a day going through my songbooks, finding links. It's like the YouTube rabbit hole, but in a book form. So
you've got so much enthusiasm for what you do. What keeps you going?
Oh, wow. Easy movies, chocolate, tea, What keeps me going? I've got two amazing sisters who I absolutely adore, called Beth and Emma, who are bigger than me, but they are endlessly amusing and supportive and kind, and I'm surrounded by great friends and a great community of musicians actually who inspire me endlessly. I do think just kindness of human nature keeps us all going, and at the end of the day, it's what I do. I don't know what else would I do. Wake up in the morning, you do what you do, don't you?
So looking forward to meeting you first. Have and keep the sun shining up there.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I must say I've taken the extraordinary stories of ordinary people very much to heart. I'm going to see if I can roll out a good load of my people ballads, because it's really going to go, you know what, I could do that one, I could do that one, I'll have to relearn this and I'll have to relearn that.
Well, that's brilliant, thank you.